I am Lata Venkatachalam, the CEO of IIT Bombay Alumni Association. So we have been working with the organizing committee, putting together, this next 2-3 days of programs for you. And we really enjoyed kind of working with the organizing team, though, so now I am actually so used to taking instructions only from Gurudatulal. I mean, that's just, all jokes apart, I think we made some very good friends for life. I think that's what this whole interactions was. So thank you for, being, so particular of every little thing that even now Gurudat came and said, who's going to sit where? I'm like, just sit. So we are here, I think, to celebrate friendship of 50 years. I think this is something you need to give a big round of applause to yourself. This is absolutely no joke. And how many batches, how many institutions across this country get to do this? So I think it's a real privilege for us to see you all here. To be on campus and then to just see you guys go back those 55 years, just not the 50 years. So I think that's what we will see. And since we've decided to go back 55 years, what did it feel like? What is the first starking difference? We didn't have a mobile phone. So for the next few hours, we will just enact those days. No mobile phones. Yeah, let's switch that off. Let's switch that off and just go back those days with your friends and with all the other dignitaries of IIT. And I'm sure those days when the professor spoke, you definitely walked out or slept. But not today, because it's 55 years later. So let's see if we can give each of your attention to what is being said today, because this is creating memories. I think that's exactly what we want to do, creating memories to talk about when you come back to campus a decade later to celebrate your Diamond Jubilee. So 1962 batch is celebrating their Diamond Jubilee this year, and I hope to see you all here for your Diamond Jubilee too. So not taking much of your time, I'm going to call upon your batchmate Suresh Shenoy, who will take us down the memory lane for the next few hours.
Thank you, Lata, for that preamble to our reunion. So, good morning. Good morning. Come on, you can do better. Good morning. Louder. Good morning. Good. IIT ka tempo. High. IIT ka tempo. Come on. High. Okay. So most people here think that because it's our 50th anniversary, we don't have the energy. So just because your wife's sitting behind you, you don't have to be quiet. So IIT ka tempo. High. Good. Good. Achha, I have my cog sheet here. I never been in IIT without a cog sheet, so I have to follow that. So, okay. When we were here, mics were not there. So, I am supposed to start the event with a joke. So, I was thinking about it. So, I'll start with joke number 16. Even the wives are laughing. They've heard the joke so many times, I don't have to. Event planning started literally more than 2 years ago. And when we started the original, it was just a small group of people. Actually, we met here in Pune with Shekhar Chitputkar and Dilip Rajwade and all that. We said, you know what? There are a lot of people in our group are dying. So we got to do something. We should start having a reunion, and no better time to do it than after 50 years. So we started doing that, and we started meeting in small groups, etc., until COVID struck, and we started going online. And we started with contacting with Dean Ravi, with Lata, who was new at the time, and we said we have to start with a creating a database of exactly how we reach out to our alumni.
So whenever you tell a joke, please put your hand up.
Yeah, I will. No, I do that a lot, so I don't want people to laugh when I'm serious.
I thought you were saying joke on it.
So here's the thing, when we started putting our database together, and thanks to the Dean's office and the Alumni office, we got the names of almost 285 or 300 people, but everyone had more than 3 or 4 email addresses, which went to, some of them had Gmail, some of them had their office address, and most of them had retired. So the first job...
I hope they didn't have too many female addresses.
So unless you want to come and stage and dance for us, you can keep quiet for time being. So...
Duster फेंक के मारो उसको.
हाँ, बिल्कुल. Those who don't understand, come closer to the board. You remember that? All right. So we started to create an organization which included the heads of all the mini alumni associations. The electrical engineering was all charged up. Okay, I mean they had done a great job. Anil Patil, I think, was leading it, and he had his act together, came up with a wonderful one. The chemical engineering people, the chemistry was great. They had already started planning for the 50th reunion amongst themselves, even without everybody else. So chemical engineering was very much in shape. Great, that's the spirit. Come on, chemical engineers. Great. The mechanical engineering group, they were just getting their act together and the gears in motion. So, mechanical engineer, cheer for yourself. Yay! The metallurgy was just getting a grasp on their own, eutectic points and getting the alloys together. So, metallurgy go, Jai Guru. Yay! The aero groups were on a different plane altogether. It took us a while to get the aero guys down on earth and starting to work with us on who's where and what the emails are. The civil engineering department alumni had no foundation and no structure. So we never got the whole list of civil engineering people, right? So so it's sort of a great opportunity for us to sort of build our database, and we also started to put hostel associations together. So hostel 2, hostel 3, hostel 4, and so on, and we tried to find people within these hostels who would meet and talk to other people and get our database up together. So now, with all that effort, I'm glad to tell you that thanks to Brian Dos Santos and many other people here, we were able to put together about 280 names of individuals. We also learned that there are about 43 or 44 people who had died in the group, even during COVID. So I'm not going to steal the thunder from Dilip, and he will mention them and he will talk about it. All right, joke number 12. Yay! Hey, good, thank you. Hey, Uday, where are you? My hand is up. All right, so that's where we are now, and I'm glad to inform you that Ravi Gadela just mentioned to me earlier that this is the largest representation of a graduating class celebrating its 50th reunion so far. Thank you. And we did this literally, we have been keeping track. Unfortunately, the Wi-Fi is not allowing us. We had more than 40 Zoom calls. We had more than 5 general body meetings. And we created a organization chart which would put a Fortune 500 company to shame. We had people in charge of coffee table book, Rabi's. We had people in charge of the website with Kiran Kadam. I'm not going to name them all. And the largest representation we got was from the ladies group. We had completely almost 50% representation with Geeta on the call every time. So here's the ladies group. At one point I also told, we met in Washington once, and I had spoken to her at that point more than I had spoken to her in the 5 years when I was here in IIT. And finally I got her to accept to come for lunch with me. And I was pleasantly surprised too that her husband Vijay was also with her, and I said, that's the story of my life. I get to take a lady from the ladies' hostel for lunch, and the husband tags along. So Vijay, welcome. Okay. Also, here are some other derivative benefits. We have 2 WhatsApp groups, so if you're not part of it, you won't know what you missed. 540 good morning messages every day. So I've been keeping tally of this. So we've got about 110 alumni out of 285 that we got in touch with. 100 who are represented here. That's almost 40% of the people. I never did well in maths, so just take my word for it. One lady out of 3 that we know we could get in touch with from the undergraduate program. There's one who passed away, the other was ill. So 33% from the ladies' side. So you have to catch up now. And then a lot of time on the network and other issues. And meanwhile, in between, we also had some mini reunions just to keep the tempo going. And there were people like Uday who organized a reunion in Kolkata. Shekhar Chirputkar and others organized a small reunion in Mahabaleshwar, and Sanjeev Nabar organized one in Thailand. So thanks to all of you for keeping that spirit up, and I hope we can have at least 10 more between now and our 100th anniversary. So looking forward to that. So we have a fairly packed agenda, and I know that the director, and so thank you very much for being here with us, and also the dean have to leave for the US later today. So without further ado, I'm going to request my colleague and the chairman, Dilip Razwade, who never fails to entertain us. So look forward to seeing his entertainment program throughout this event, including the next week. So,
number 10.
Bas. Dilip, over to you.
टोपी काढ ना आता कसं झालं बाय राईट दिसतोय
Yeah, I sign other way. Can't you see the halo behind? Thanks, Suresh. Welcome from me also to all of you. Those who have come from the north to see a hai, asi bade gujayge. Those who are coming from the south, Ningal, Vedurakam, Yangalak, Ramba Santosham. Those who come from the east, Apne Khane Elen, Ami Beshi Khushi. Those from the west, तमें आया, हमने बहुत सारो लागे. और मराठी, आपण इथे आलात, आनंद झाला. आणि फॉर शुद्ध हिंदी, आपके इस स्थल पर आगमन से हमें अति प्रसन्नता हुई. Some people are born chairman, some people achieve chairmanship, and some people are chairmanship thrust on them. I do not fall in any of the categories. I wanted it. In the organizing committee, it was a unanimous decision taken that I should be chairman. That decision was taken by me. I did the chairman duty very well, taking off from what Suresh said. I simply insisted that everybody should not do everything. We should have specific people doing specific things and others should abide by them. But even then, we had a big Samudra Manthan, and like Samudra Manthan, initially there were a lot of arguments, disputes, this, that and the other. But finally, like Samudra Manthan, things fell into place, and my strategy that you should delegate work and sit back on the chair, it worked very well. So this does not mean that I did not work with my own hands. I did a couple of things with my own hands. Main thing was to keep having those meetings of the core committee. In the last 1.5 years, we had some 42 meetings. And as he said, we also had 5 general body meetings. We got very good response. And I pat myself on the back for getting the organizing team to work. That was my job. We got an overwhelming response from the spouses as well. As you can see, half the people, 50% of people who attended have brought their spouses, including one male spouse. And he is also, 2 male spouses, sorry. One is a friend from a rival institute or a rival from a friendly institute, IIT Madras. One is from IIT Bombay itself. We also got quite a good response, I must say, from MSc people. Unfortunately, 1 or 2 of them dropped out, so we have only just 2 or 3 people from MSc, 3 people. One thing I clarify, we are over 70 years of age. We have not come here to talk about what we have done in life. We have come here to relive our old times. So behave like 16, 17-year-old people. Never mind if your wives are around, they can always turn away. I have brought some old memories which I will tell during the gatherings, some old jokes, real time stories, and some songs which can be sung in the presence of the wives, and some songs which cannot be sung in the presence of the wives. So depending on who is interested in what, we will organize those. Like he said, or like Lata said, will be one of the very few meetings that we'll have with such large numbers as time goes by. But we hope to see you again for the 60th anniversary. If 62 Wali batch can have a 60th anniversary, so can we. And one record that has not been mentioned here, because we talked about records of today, I'm talking about records set 55 years ago by our batch. We were the batch which has a very large number of girls, 5 girls in our batch. We never had them. No batch had ever. So there's a lot of notches in our pistol. Again, not taking too much of your time. We have come here to enjoy, so do enjoy. Thanks.
My distinct honor and pleasure to introduce our director, Suhashish Chaudhary, for his address to this group. When we joined, I think Dr. Bose was Brigadier Bose was the director. I think he was the first director of IIT. Second director. Okay. And then when we graduated, it was Dr. Kelkar. Yeah. Okay, guys, who was the third director?
Just say
Sukhatme. I think he's going to join us later, correct? AKD, that's right. Okay, good. We are going to jog your memory throughout the day today. So, we'll see how many of that you are going to be able to name. Ashok Mishra was before day one. Yeah.
During our 25th. Is Sukhatme coming here?
So, yeah.
Mr. Sukhatme is going to
Before day one. Yeah, Ashok Mishra. I think he's in Bangalore now, so I'm not sure if he is coming. Oh, in Bangalore. Wonderful. Yeah. So, I recall very, very distinctly that was in 2008 when we were celebrating our IIT Bombay's 50th anniversary in New York, where we had a couple of thousand people and we had a phenomenal event right in the middle of Times Square. And on the final day, Ashok Mishra said he was leaving IIT Bombay. So I'll never forget that particular moment and of Ashok Mishra, of course. And we were always good friends. So Suhashish is also an IIT alumnus from IIT Kharagpur, much later than us. So once when I met him the first time, I said, in IIT, one of the privileges is the older guys get to rag their juniors anywhere and at any time. And of course, being a person with a great sense of humor, he took it very well. And but he's doing a phenomenal job. And we get a lot of ribbing that from his classmates who are in Washington DC from IIT Kharagpur. Finally you guys are from IIT Bombay needed somebody from IIT Kharagpur to lift you up. So I said, well, we'll take it, because Suhashish is one of our own now. So Suhashish, please, over to you.
Thank you, Suresh. Great day. Welcome to 50th, I think, the Union batch. It's a golden jubilee. You have achieved, I think 55 years ago, as Lata said, that when you joined, probably you were not signing as silver. But now, after 50 years, I think all of you, as always, for IIT Bombay alumni, all of you are shining like real gold. And it is our pleasure to welcome you all, after all these years, to your alma mater, to see that how you have prospered in your life, and to make sure that you get to network with your own people as well as with your alma mater. So thank you so much for taking time to come here. I understand it's from all over, I think from US, from India, with Canada, I think some other places also, I'm sure. So it's wonderful to be here. I think the journey you started, with maybe nowadays I think students start dreaming a lot earlier because they are a lot more aspirational today. compared to, I think, your time, because I think I can put myself at your time as, that for us sometime, oh, it's a great place to be there, so you go there and start enjoying, and we know at the end of 5 years, there will be definitely something for us to latch on to, and hopefully we'll do wonderful things later on. But nowadays, life has changed. I think there are a lot of things that are happening in the society, a lot of technological developments, a lot of opening up of various avenues through which I think our students would like to project themselves from almost day one. Okay, and that puts a lot of, I think, probably burden on the system as well as on themselves, I think they put it, because that creates difficulties for the students to come up to the level where you start enjoying so much in your life as you all did. Okay, I think we spend more time on corridors and wings rather than in classrooms and others, doing something, right? Which is used to be the true, but nowadays things have changed. But given that, I'm happy to say that IIT Bombay is doing well. There are problems, I'll come to that also. It's not that we are doing well in all aspects, there are issues. But it's well recognized by almost all the people, at least in the country, if not outside, that it is the #1 institution in India in terms of research and research. We get fairly, I think, it's a #1 choice for all the students in the country. Every kid everywhere, dream to be in IIT Bombay. And it's, I would say that it's very unusual that, just about 2 weeks ago, I was visiting in the Kumaun area, and they have some temple. I think I never heard of such kind of temples. It's called Galu Devta temple. I don't know whether you heard of it. So I asked, what does it stand for? It says it's a god or goddess, whatever. I think it's the god of justice. Okay, so you pray and something happens. So everywhere, full of pages, like it's an affidavit of a court, some court document, or I should win, and things like this. So I was looking around, and then suddenly something was in English, because the rest of them were mostly in Hindi. And then something, as a teacher, always, something always hits your eyes as the first thing. I saw IIT written on there. Okay. So of course I was a little worried, because it's a privileged communication between somebody and the god, Galu, and whether I should see it or not, but I couldn't resist myself. I looked at it. As a matter of fact, I took the picture also. Okay, so probably personal violation. And I found that some young kid writes, "Oh God, kindly ensure that I get into IIT. I should be all India rank 1." That's what they're saying. So that's the kind of aspirations I think the people are going through. And to give you what is the current status in this, last week we had our new batch of BTech. I think they started this year late because of the COVID opening up. The JE was held a little later. So 48 out of 50 of them have joined IIT Bombay. Okay, so that's and since we have one, spouse from IIT Madras, so I must also tell you that we have given out of 50, we have been very generous. We have given one of them to IIT Madras and one to IIT Delhi. So there is something to be proud of, both sides of the spouse, that's why. So it's good, but also, once they come in, we are also trying to do in terms of revision of their curriculum. I think the last set of major revision of curriculum has happened just a few months ago, and the new batch is joining with completely new and revamped curriculum. And it is a lot of options, what they want to do. And this is, I hope that will really pick up and be, quite helpful to all the students that will join. And we also have done something new, that we're trying to allow the students, because sometimes you say that that people are maybe in metallurgy, but they are more interested in something, but or you are in department X, you are somewhere else. We are also setting up something called Central Liberal Education, where it's still engineering, but you are free to choose almost any course that is available, as long as you do the credit requirements, and then you get away with a degree. So we are giving the options to the students. We are creating a lot of opportunities to work in the lab, because that is one thing, because I think from this batch onward, nobody will go to those very, very tiring and I think, places like your smithy workshop or poaching or, whatever, carpentry, because now they are all in one area, and thanks to our, of course, many of our alumni who have donated in terms of setting up this maker space where actually they do it in all real life examples in a lab, which is 3D printing, additive manufacturing, whatever, like different types of electrical and other equipment. So the learning and teaching has also, they've undergone major changes. Okay, we have created a lot of new interdisciplinary research programs. Okay, so that's also something in some of the new areas where we anticipate that certain things are going to happen. Like, for example, two of these things would include something called CQUIS, Center for Quantum Information Science and Technologies, on the basically to see that what is coming. And the second one is the CEMIX, which is the Center for Semiconductor Related Activities. As you know, the government has planned a big way to see that how to leverage the semiconductor industry in India. So we are trying to keep pace with the changes, and also probably time to probably look back and evaluate the performance of some of the centers which are already there. Okay, so to see that whether they need change. But having said that, these are the good things, okay, but also there are problems. Okay, the other day, it was somebody said, one of the, I think one alumnus said that, look, my room had a perfect CPI. I said, what do you mean? He says, my room CPI was at the end of the career was at 10 out of 10. I said, oh, that's excellent, okay. Then he says, no, it's a combined CPI of the two residents of the same room. So I said, that's not the same thing, right? So what has happened is that we are no longer able to provide the same kind of ambience that most of you, we could provide at those days. And that's the reason for that is that there has been a massive growth, okay, in the institute. So when you were there, probably number of students were less than 2,000 or something around 2,000 maybe. But now it's about 13,000 students. Okay. You do see some new hostels. There are a lot of constructions and other activities. Okay, you may want to take a stroll. It's like 17, 18. These are like mega hostels. Each one having a capacity of 1,100. But still, we are short by about something like 4,000, I think, rooms. Okay, so that's like a really difficult situation for us. I think that our students are packed. Okay, two of them in the same one single room, which are not really that big. It's a small room, and definitely they have no space for even studying and others, right? So if that is true, then what all things that we can provide to them, we would like you to see that how you can contribute in terms of getting the infrastructure at a stage where it is helpful to all. The government funding has completely changed the way they used to do it. There is no more funding on the capex side, so there is no construction or any other thing. They will give only the opex part of the expenses. Okay, so that's puts the onus on us to seek help from others, philanthropy. Basically it is now philanthropy driven, I would say. So that's what we are looking at it, but that is one aspect. But having spent 50 years in this profession doing wonderfully well, I think another thing that I would request you to help our, particularly IIT Bombay, would be to help our young minds to get some kind of mentorship from all of you. You have done wonderful things in your life, no matter which discipline you pursue, what career you pursue. But today what happened with a large number, sometimes even with the wing and others, you don't know probably the entire batch. So there is some kind of isolation for some students feel that they need a little bit more help that probably we could provide. Okay, and as always, student always believes the senior and more than a faculty member. So if it comes from you, they would be very happy to listen to you. Okay, and so whenever you are here, if you want to meet them, you want to talk to them, we can arrange that. Okay, go to their hostel, talk to them. I'm sure that they will be feeling very happy. Okay, and then it will be really cheer them up or motivate them to do things which probably otherwise they feel certain dejection in their life, whatever way it may be from the background. The students come from various diverse backgrounds, so we need to onboard them all, and because that's how we got onboarded into the system, by laterally supporting each other. So if it comes from you, it'll be wonderful. So I don't want to take any more time, because I think today is your day. You want to enjoy, and I'm delighted that all of you could come here. And as Lata said, that we will be always hoping that we'll have even more people coming in for the next one, the Diamond Jubilee. So you can start planning. Now we have 42 meetings. Maybe you have enough time to do 100 odd meetings, right? So please do that, and keep coming back to the campus and enjoy your day here.
If we can jog your memory, what were the dues for the education, the fees, when we joined IIT in 1967? 1 year. 200. Okay, the consensus is 200. We want a guess from you as to how much does it cost for a student to go to college today at IIT? 1 lakh, 40,000, 2 lakhs.
1 lakh a semester.
I'm sorry?
1 lakh a semester.
1 lakh and per term. Okay, we will hear more about it, I hope, soon. So what were your costs when you were in the hostel dues in 1967? 100 rupees a year. Well, whatever it is, it was less than a couple of 100 rupees a year. That's great. There was no GST, 18% less. Any guesses on what it costs for a student in a hostel today?
40,000 per semester.
40,000. Any other guesses? 10,000. Well, lot more zeros than what we paid, and of course the rupee has also devalued a lot since then. But as Suhasis mentioned, I mean, it's hard for us to imagine that 13,000 or 14,000 students are being squeezed into the infrastructure that was built for 2,000. So when you go to the hostels, it will be an eye-opener for us, and we should thank our stars that we have been blessed with the taxpayers' generosity for getting a great education and also being able to come back to IIT after a whole illustrious career, and we all know what it costs to raise a family. So I think we should be very thankful, and let's give a round of applause to all the taxpayers who made it happen. So thank you very much. So next we have the Dean for the Community Relations, Dean ACR, Ravi Guddi. He is one of us. He is also a graduate of IIT Bombay, much later, I think 1985. So we have bragging rights on him too. But that won't be necessary. He is a phenomenal person. It's like a breath of fresh air, if you will, dealing with him. And he and his office have been, Ravi Gadela from DRF, and he'll talk more about it, have been absolutely phenomenal in helping us make this event possible. So please give a warm welcome to Dr.
Suresh, good morning everyone. Good morning. It's a delight to see all of you here, and I wish to warmly congratulate all of you on this Golden Jubilee reunion that all of us have assembled to celebrate. I was telling somebody just before this event that in many ways I am just singularly fortunate I grew up admiring this institute as a student. I continue to admire it as a faculty. And now I'm in this overwhelmingly, such a comfortable and exciting role, being able to connect with all my alumni, the corporates, and I would say that this is indeed a very, very great feeling. There's a lot of work connecting up with all of you. We have batch engagement sessions, so many other connect forums, but because just it's the alumni that I'm dealing with, and I am one of the alumnus of this institute, it's absolutely zero stress. It's just so well, so comfortable talking to everyone and planning various things, various initiatives, both for you as well as for the institute. So, really thanks to the institute for challenging me with this role, and thanks to all of you for all of this comfort and the warmth in all our interactions so far. So just to kind of step back and say, I'm Hostel 4, that's the first thing, 1985, second, Chemical Engineering, third, continue to be a faculty in Chemical Engineering, fourth. Suresh mentioned about ragging, yes, you do have the ragging rights. I must say that one of my very pleasant memories of ragging would be, I won't say how I wore my clothes on that night, but with my hands wide apart, running from one end of the corridor to the other like an airplane, which I continue to use in my classrooms because I teach process control systems, and I talk a lot about how airplanes fly so safely using their control systems. So that ragging indeed helped. I do want to take a minute to share an anecdote in my classroom with one of our very, very brilliant instructors in mathematics, Professor K.D. Joshi. He used to teach us complex analysis. A brilliant teacher. The classrooms were very, very logically, the writings on the board were so logical, systematic. Brilliant teacher, answered every doubt with a great deal of enthusiasm and accuracy. But his exams were brutal. Absolutely brutal. One day he just walked into the classroom and said, we would have a surprise quiz. And as students, we all said, oh, no surprise quiz, no surprise quiz. And his repartee was, do you want a surprise quiz or do you want a surprise in the quiz? And really that was not, neither of the options were acceptable to us. But, that's one thing. The second thing I'd like to share, another anecdote, was during my hostel days at Hostel 4, we had at that time, as Lata rightly mentioned, no cell phones. Connectivity with our parents was very, very bad, I would say, minimal. And there used to be just one handset next to the wardy's office, which sometimes gave us electric shocks in the monsoon when we went and touched it. So there was this call that came from outside for a particular room number, and I'll tell you what that is. And so the watchie picked up the phone and he said, okay, I'll call. And he came. In the Hostel 4, we have a south wing, a central wing, and a north wing. So he stood in between the south wing and the central wing, and he said, 156, 165. And so naturally we had two people, one coming from the central wing and one coming from the south wing, saying, "Kiska phone hai?" So these are some wonderful memories. There's a third one which I cannot resist saying, that in 1985 when we all graduated, we had one of our mechanical engineering colleague who celebrated his graduation in a very unique way. His room had a broken chair. And he was in the south wing, of course, and between south wing and central wing there's a mango tree still there. And in celebration he said, oh, this chair is broken. There is nothing, it will not serve my next person who is going to come to this room. So let me just break it apart. He broke it apart, the handle came out, and he just threw it in celebration, and it went and got stuck into a mango tree. No, but that's not where it ends. in 2010 when we revisited the hostel, and I am not even exaggerating here, that handle was still on that handle. So these are some very nice memories. In fact, we might still find it if we go there. But yeah, I think it's really nice having all of you here. As we planned for this event, and we had several meetings, and I'm glad that the enthusiasm of all of you is so infectious that we just, it was such an enjoyable activity to facilitate all of this and make this happen. Several of you must be thanked. Predominantly, I would say Suresh Advani ji, Gurudat ji, I'm sorry, I'm missing your name, Geeta ji, and all of us, all of you. So frequent meetings we had, and fine-tuned this event. So thank you so much. It was also a pleasure to connect with all of you, online as well. Suresh, of course, now the central during the online meetings. Yeah. Let me perhaps just share a quick presentation about it. Mr. Chaudhary spoke about where the institute is and how we are growing. As I said, I have grown up admiring this institute, and just want to share some exciting things as well as our vision of how we wish to grow further. Probably some of you might already have seen this in the online meetings. These lights can be dimmed.
All the lights.
You fall asleep.
Okay, we'll keep it going. So, this, I think you must already have seen how the main gate looks. It's changed a lot. We have a metro station coming up. It's a theoretically impossible junction to cross from the main gate across to the other side because you have traffic coming at any point from several directions. You have to really navigate yourselves to cross the road. But this is how it looks. The main gate, market gate, of course, what we call as Y point, has gone a transformation. It has morphed into something completely different. No cycle stands there, and all of that. But this is how the main gate looks. So, Professor Chaudhary talked to you about where we are today. Right? So, ranked number 1 institute very consistently for the last several years, first choice for JEE students. In fact, we had the number was 48 out of the top 50 with Professor Subhashish's generosity. One went to IIT Delhi, one went to IIT Madras. But the first ranker actually went to IISc Bangalore, so that number dropped to 47. But otherwise, we failed to attract him to IIT Bombay. In terms of faculty strength, fairly large growth in that, with several very, very accomplished and competent faculty. We are touching 700 now, with over 200 faculty joining in the last 5 years. There's been a significant change in the aspirations of the faculty, which I will talk about in a short while. Student demographics has changed. We have 40% UG and 60% PG postgraduate. A lot of thrust on research in new areas where number 1 in employers' preference, continue to do that over several years. But all of your testimony, 65,000 illustrious alumni all across the globe. So we should certainly give all of us a big round of applause. Campus area remains the same, but we have started to recover or maybe start occupying some of the spaces that typically were supposed to be 30 par. Across the pipeline, we are beginning to occupy that. There is some exciting developments on the other side of the pipeline. New research park building coming up, Center for Propulsion Technologies. All of that is beginning to happen. We have 15 departments, 13 centers of excellence, 3 schools and 4 interdisciplinary programs in various emerging areas. So again, this is a slide to significantly acknowledge the generosity of the alumni. Majority of this slide is that. Okay? If you look at just the new programs, the BS Economics and BS Mathematics are 2 new programs that we have started. and is well sought after for advanced JEE rankers. I mean, I should qualify that advanced or high rankers in the JEE advanced. But you see the other tabs, Center for Machine Intelligence and Data Sciences. This is a center that brings together about 75 to 80 faculty from across traditional departments to come together and work in the area of, and we deliberately coined this as machine intelligence rather than artificial intelligence. Obviously, because of the acronym, it would have sounded as AIDS. But machine intelligence and data sciences with a particular intent in mind that it brings together also the domain-centric knowledge along with data that to make an impact in terms of the overall inferences you draw from machine intelligence. The second tab is about IIT Bombay Trust Lab. 1983 alumnus Dr. Sridhar Shukla, he established this Trust Lab just a couple of months back with an intent to intensify research in security in digital transactions, so cyber security and the like. What you see on the right tab is Koita Center for Digital Health, 1992, Rekha and Rizwan Koita. They have established this Center for Digital Health with a primary intent to have low cost and affordable healthcare. Climate change, I mean, we are all being threatened by what's happening on the planet. A lot of research happening in this interdisciplinary program as of now. It's an interdisciplinary program. It will grow to perhaps a full-fledged, depending on how we conduct our research. There's fairly intense research happening in various aspects of the planet. If we call wind, water, fire, earth. There is a lot of research that's happening in this climate studies department. And then, of course, transition to green energy, which is looking at various aspects of decarbonization, maximizing solar income. We have a National Center for Photovoltaic Research and Education, NCPRE, headed by, initiated by Professor Vasi, but now supported by several of our younger faculty. The Department of Energy Sciences has several research programs in the area of batteries, green energy, hydrogen, and the like. So this is pitched to be is trying to establish a center of excellence in green energy that would facilitate transition to green energy. The next two tabs that you see on the right are on entrepreneurship and industry collaboration. Entrepreneurship has taken a big upswing. We now have, of course, through a generous donation from Bharat Desai, we have a Desai City School of Entrepreneurship, DSSE, which soon a new building would come up. It's slated to be, the groundbreaking is slated to be on early December. If you are around, please do join us for that groundbreaking ceremony. But the interesting thing is that amongst the students, amongst the faculty, as well as in the working professionals, there is a lot of interest in entrepreneurship. There is a minor program that is a much sought after program in IIT Bombay in entrepreneurship. We also are rolling out a Master of Engineering for working professionals that's targeted towards entrepreneurship, handholding budding entrepreneurs to go through this program and start their businesses. Deep tech is something that has been very close to our hearts, but it does take a fair bit of infrastructure. The risks are high, and the time to mature is also fairly large. To be able to facilitate this, we are aspirational to establish a translational research academy, which is really a TRL booster. Academic research is typically at a TRL level of 2 or 3, but what it takes to commercialize that is TRL 8 or 9, technology readiness level. And so if we have to do this, we need to create an ambience where we can continue to retain our PhD students who have developed those brilliant ideas, provide them with attractive salaries, but more importantly, the necessary infrastructure to mature deep tech. And that's something we aspire to do in the Translational Research Academy. We already had fairly generous initial donations from a couple of our illustrious alumni. We are also seeking governmental support to establish this center. Of course, all of you may already be knowing about the SIGN, the Society for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, active in the last 17 years. 200 companies, 50 of them have gone out and raised market capital 2.5 billion USD. One unicorn, of course, Gupshup, but 2 or 3 others are also in the pipeline in terms of the unicorn. SIGN has been active. As I said, the other side of the pipeline behind Hostel 6, we have a research park, which is essentially different from a tech park. A tech park is, you just lease out space and the companies occupy that and grow. The research park is primarily different in intent. Companies establish their R&D labs, technology centers in these premises. 250,000 square feet of lab space is available. Already we have signed up several companies. In the pipeline we have about 40. 13 of them are operating from various academic spaces. We have a pipeline of about 25 to 30 by expressed and intent, currently virtual members. This research park in about 8 months to a year is likely to be completely commissioned, and we'll have very active engagement with all of these companies. About 50 companies on an average would be present in the research park at any point in time. That will promote, or they'll give a big upswing to research collaborations, spawning off research projects with faculty, with various departments, but more importantly, from a manpower development point of view, internships, master's projects, PhD projects, all of those could be facilitated by the research park being present on campus, establishing tighter engagement with industries in this research park. When I say industries, I must also stress that MSMEs are also certainly in the focus as far as the activities are concerned. Technograph Center has been established by the brothers, the Saraf brothers, Sharad Saraf and Sudarshan Saraf, both our alumnus. In fact, Dr. Sharad Saraf is our chairman board of governors. This has a primary mandate of applied AI, and the typical application they are looking at is agriculture, defense, supply chain logistics, and a whole bunch of exciting applications there. The TIH is something that has been established by the Ministry of Education at IIT Bombay, across several IITs as well, with various themes. At IIT Bombay, the theme is Internet of Things, IIoT, in alignment with version 5.0, Industry 5.0, 6.0. So our 2030 aspirations, of course, very steep, very ambitious. What you see on the right is we are currently 172 in QS overall rankings, but we aspire to break into the top 50 QS all rankings by 2030. Fairly steep, but I'm sure with all of your support, with all of the exciting work that the faculty at IIT Bombay are doing, we will be able to reach there. What you see from the other three tabs are basically being continue to be a world-class institute, excellence in teaching, excellence in research, but also create an innovation ambience that will make a significant social and industrial impact, generate ideas, solve complex problems, societal problems, as well as help in the industry growth. To be able to do all of this, of course, we need to establish the necessary financial resilience. We have a plan of how we would reach there. But before that, just in terms of the strategic plan that the Institute think tank along with McKinsey put together, which is also forms some of the part of the document for the Institution of Eminence. Centers of excellence in various areas, strategic areas. I'll quickly show you what those areas are. Entrepreneurship, grow that into the deep tech, provide a very attractive faculty value proposition to attract the best in class faculty. Industry collaboration to the research park, but also through several other modes, the translational research and the like, lead to research commercialization. Now, to be able to do all of this, you need to, for ease of adoption of our technologies, we need to train the industry manpower. So executive and digital education needs to be ramped up. We now have a new position in the institute for the digital educational outreach. Through this, we expect to train and get people to easily adopt the technologies that are being proliferated, but also build a major source of revenue. And then by doing all of this, create the necessary societal impact as well as industry impact. So a deep dive into some of the world-class research areas broadly. I'll not go through this. Data sciences, sustainability, manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, and healthcare. Which are some of this. I just want to spend a minute here on the last Sunita Sanghi Center for Research in Aging and Neurodegenerative Diseases, increasingly getting prevalent globally. This is a center that's headed by Professor Samir Maji from Harvard, primarily to look at how do you predict prognostics as well as treatment therapies and the like. We anticipate a 5-year funding grab as we go towards 2030 to the tune of 3,400 crores. Even to stay running where we are, we do have, what you see on the right, the base case 1 to 1.2 thousand crores. But also in the aspirational case, if we really have to do all that we aspire for, we are anticipating a funding gap of about 3.2 to 3.4, so 3,400 crores. And the way we think we would be able to meet this is by looking at the additional government funding, which of course is very, very frugal. It's executive education, industry projects, the research park and various other forums of interaction. We expect to build that up, donations and endowments, and of course the Society for Innovation, that TBI that we have on campus, which will start, revenues will start flowing a little after 2030. So this is how we project ourselves to meet the funding gap as we go ahead. Just like to acknowledge very, very, we like to pay our respects and thanks to all of the top donors that you see here. They have been a great source of support in the Institute growth so far. They continue to support us. So we just wanted to put this slide up to acknowledge very sincerely all of their very generous philanthropic support. Our donations and endowments, just a quick look at that, how they have grown over the years. There has been a steady growth thanks to the DRF, very ably headed by one of our alumnus, of course, 1990 alumnus, Ravi Shankar Gadela, and his group, his team of very, very competent, some of them also alumnus of the institute. They have come back and they are supporting the growth of this institute. Just to deep dive into some of the recent philanthropic support, we have humanities and social sciences, microfactories. Professor Chaudhary talked about how the workshops have changed now. This is a place where you have 3D printers, laser cutters, and several 3D solid modeling platforms where design what they have in mind and be able to translate that and see that product. The expectation in the first year is that they build a simple robo of their own. Microfactories, design and making lab. GMP is good manufacturing practices in the area of bio, translation of bio research, GMP. Renovated Hostel 5, as the hostel strength has doubled up, we need to basically look at how do we meet the students' needs for additional study rooms, toilet blocks. So Hostel 5 alumnus came together to rebuild this hostel, renovated this hostel, which we inaugurated in the summer of this year. Rahul Bajaj Technology Innovation Center, just on the other side of BMCC. I invite you to take a look at this very creatively designed innovation center, natural cooling spaces, lot of ambience, where eventually SIGN, the Research and Development Office, as well as IDC will move there. So in a way it's a confluence of research, product design and innovation coming together in this very nice creatively designed building. The executive MBA, led by Mr. Shailesh Mehta, has some very attractive conference facility. I would like to spend a minute on Project Evergreen. As you probably must have heard, Hostel 7 has been demolished, Hostel 8 is close to, in fact the Hostel 8 alumni are going to visit there very soon to say a last hooray. And then Hostel 4 is next in the pipeline. I have already got WhatsApp messages from my colleagues, my hostel. It's a pain to see it going down just like it was to see Hostel 7 and Hostel 8. But these are going down and we do need to build new hostels. This is initiative by the alumnus, Project Evergreen, to basically put together Hostel 7, Hostel 8 and a new women's hostel, Hostel 21, adjoining Hostel 11 in the same place as Hostel 8. And we have begun to take initial steps in this direction, raise alumni donations. The expected cost is 150 crores. We have a pledge of about 50 crores, so we're still staring at a significant resource generation. We'd like to request all your support for this Project Evergreen. There's a website and I think Anurag will also show you some ways. A few other things I talked about, Sunita Center, I talked about the PCA2I, the Trust Lab, the Ashang Desai Center for Policy Studies with the generous support from Ashang Desai, who heads MASTEC, talked about Koita Center for Digital Health and C-Minds. Some of the recent corporate partnerships, again through my Office of the Alumni and Corporate Relations. You see on the left, all of the alumni, the corporate support, JSW, SDFC, Ergo, Daimler, Bank of Baroda, the Inox, and conversational AI Gupshup, and the elements of corporate partnerships typically across various modes of research and infrastructure, tapping into the research ecosystem for company R&D, housing R&D facilities in the research park, participating in the startup ecosystem through SIGN, and of course there is a significant body of students who are needy, and for them the finance should not come in the way, so the corporates have helped us in establishing scholarships, fellowships and the like. Some of the recent legacy projects, I'd like to spend just a couple of minutes on this. 1993 set up the class of 1993 lecture hall, which is the image that you see here. Class of 1980 established the design and making lab, which Professor Chaudhary talked about, has lot more advanced facilities for the students to get a immersive experience. Class of 1992, which is just next here, the Cafe 92, a very nice creative menu. If you are suddenly a hunger pangs, you can visit there. It's a very nice cafe. In recognition also of the Hostel 3 study room project by the class of 1992. Just in terms of the institute priorities, as I said, Professor Chaudhary has also showcased this. Hostel infrastructure, I would say we are 64 years young as far as our growth is concerned, but we are 64 years old as far as the infrastructure is concerned. Academic spaces as well as hostels need a lot of support in terms of innovation, building new spaces. There is a significant gap in terms of the number of beds, 4,000 to 6,000 depending on how we look at it. Likewise, academic buildings, we need to add about 1 million square feet. And the expected funding, the funding needs to be raised is to the tune of 350 crores, as well as for the academic buildings to the tune of 465 crores. We have a capex plan for 1,500, and we need to raise 1,000 crores perhaps as soon as possible, I would say. Some of the key upcoming initiatives, I talked about most of this, just spend a minute on semiconductors. There is a Center of Excellence for Semiconductors recently approved by our Board of Governors. Professor Udayan Ganguly from Jubilee is currently heading this initiative. Circular economy, e-mobility, energy transition I talked about. The chemistry and chemical engineering building, my department, because of the nature of the activities, the effluents and the like, and it's coming down, and we need a new building in the place of chemistry and chemical engineering. The donor acknowledgement, there are several ways in which funding received from the donors are being acknowledged. We have founding donors. We have naming of the facility. In fact, last week when we were in Bangalore, we said there are several ways in which you could perhaps look at your naming your room. I would say Professor Ravindra Gudi lived here, and I would give some donation to have that board being put there. You could name a wing, you could name a floor, you could name a lab, and of course, name hostel academic building in the center on a case-to-case basis. We could have the acknowledgement of the donors for various support that we receive. So, IIT Bombay in 2030, among the top universities breaking into the top 50, drive world-class research through centers of excellence, provide of course a world-class experience for our students in the hostel area, facilitate their learning. Also the faculty play a pivotal role in deep tech, startup ecosystem, establish a strong industry collaboration, and generate the necessary financial resilience to make ourselves sustainable for our steep growth that we plan to have. Thank you for your attention. More time than what is allotted.
Thank you, Dr. Goody. Thank you very much for that excellent background on where we are today. You mentioned Hostel 4, so I'm going to just very quickly narrate a story. Our very well-known alumnus, unfortunately, who passed away, Manor Parikar, was in Washington, D.C. one day, and he was there for some defense department, and he came to me. I was there for some luncheon meeting, and he said, Suresh, I'm tired of giving speeches and meeting all these guys. I want to have a cold beer with IIT alumni. So immediately we organized a dinner at a restaurant. We got the whole place. And Parag Saxena, who's the person who donated this, came down from New York. We had about 40 people or so. And the first day, and a lot of security people. The Indian ambassador Arun Singh was also there. And he came to me and said, "Bhashan nahi dene ka? Hum bhashan deke bahut thak gaya." So I said, "Abhi aap bhashan nahi deo, main bhashan dunga, aap sun ke baitho." So I started out by saying he's from Hostel 4, I'm from Hostel 3, and Hostel 3 always won the Gali competition. So you should know that. And immediately he stood up and he said, "I'm willing to take you on right now. Chalo ho jaye Gali competition." And the Indian ambassador and the Department of Defense people were like, "Kya chal raha hai?" You know? But that's the spirit of the alumni. So we'll take on the Hostel 4 Gali competition sometime. But you heard a wonderful presentation by Ravi about the activities here, and also heard about what Suhas talked about, all the vision for IIT Bombay. Today we have amongst us one of the former chairman of the IIT Bombay Alumni Association in India, Kirat Patel, and he is also leading a project called Evergreen Project. And a lot of you might have seen this during our general body meetings, and also heard about it from Raj Mashruwala, who is also leading it on the US side. So Kirat has agreed to give a short presentation and the vision that the alumni bring to the rejuvenation of this campus, if you will, that we are so fond of. And you will get a good idea from Kirat. So over to you, Kirat. Thank you.
So let me introduce myself in the right order of importance. Hostel 8. How many people in Hostel 8 here?
Nobody.
Oh, very good. Batch of 75. BTech Mechanical. So I'm here as a hostel representative from the Alumni Association to talk to you about Project Evergreen. Can you help me with it? It's a long time since I've been on this stage. This is where I did most of my theatre activities when I was on campus. And so I'm just going to show you a short film about the hostel situation. Then I do a small presentation about what we are planning to do, and then show you a little film on what we visualize the hostel is going to be, and then we'll throw it open to Q&A, questions if you have.
Let's face it, every visit to IIT is an event. Maybe that's the reason why these visits are never alone. Occasionally, it's with family, with the good boy version of you. A day spent recounting and cherishing those indelible memories. Visit to the hostel is probably the most significant part of the ritual. Lecture तो bunk मारे थे ना, तो department से वो रिश्ता कैसे बनता? असली सेंटियापा हुआ तो hostel से। और आपका room, जहाँ से आपने सारे कांड करे। हाँ, but because the junior is in town, you deliver a virtuoso performance steeped in goodness and deep fundas. After all, the desire is to influence the junior to try and follow in your footsteps. But by some distance, the preferred option for campus visit is with fellow chichoras. Or should we say, hostel ki janta. That's when the years melt away. Takkal and grays are forgotten and Jawani ka josh fir se vapas. Pretenses are dropped, names are forgotten, nicknames and D-Not-Giri make a stunning comeback. It's also the time when all the Khans are recounted, each time with new masala. The language largely being RLC, RK, SP. Of course, the room betas or potas get lots of free fundas too. Their only fault being that at the time of your Excellency's visit, they were unfortunately in what was once your room. On another note, ever noticed how the joy during every visit has always been tinged with a hint of despair? Especially at the state of your hostel, and how your Chotu room now has double, even triple occupancy, and how your time was better. Surely it was better, but remember, we paid almost next to nothing. There were just 3,000 of us on campus then. Now there are 13,000. There were only gin chunki girls, now 1 in 4 is a girl. You really think your time was better? More disciplines, more electives, more buzz, more of everything. And as an aside, Moodha is now a 5 crore event from a measly 2 to 4 lakhs in the early 90s, a 200-fold growth. Such incredible growth needs to be managed. We believe it must be done collectively. Project Evergreen represents the first step towards this new paradigm. It pioneers a new model that envisions an active engagement between the alumni, the current students, and the institute authorities. The end goal being to upgrade and modernize the amenities at the institute. Project Evergreen is the largest project ever that's been driven totally by the alumni. The name stands for the sylvan surrounds of IIT Bombay, as also the timelessness of our association. We believe this initiative will strike a special chord with the alums of H7 and H8, as it envisions rebuilding the 2 hostels into world-class facilities for the future generations. Project Evergreen also resonates with all of us who want to see the number of girls at IITB go up. H10 and H11 don't suffice anymore. So, we are building H21 as part of the co-ed hostel complex. Project Evergreen has begun to galvanize the alumni across generations, some from as early as 1966 to ones from a few years ago. The physical structures might go away, but the soul of our hostels will continue to be, well, evergreen. We are counting on you to come on board and help support this initiative reach its lofty goal. We are confident you will not let go of this opportunity to create your own legacy.
So, I think the film said it much better than I can. So, I'm not going to talk much about the project now. I'm just going to tell you something about how we are going about it, and then I'll show you what our vision is about. So, this initiative began about a couple of years ago. I happened to meet the director, Professor Chaudhary, at the airport on a coffee shop, and he told me that your hostel 8 is being evacuated because it's unsafe and it is going to be demolished, and we want to rebuild it, and we don't have the money, so we don't know how to look forward to it. So I just casually offered that, look, I stayed 5 years in room number 103 and I don't mind paying 10 lakhs for rebuilding it, as long as you put the Kirat Patel slept here, kind of thing. I didn't know that that's casual comment of mine would lead to my engagement to collect something like 150 crores. He said 135 crores when we made this film about 6 months ago, but in the meantime, the costs have gone through a little higher. So we started on the journey, and one of the things we said that Subhash reached out about a little more than a year ago, saying that that idea that you had about funding your room, do you think you can take it on to make it a little bigger and build the hostel? So, 2 of us, my classmate Narayan, who's more into construction than I am. I haven't built anything in my life, but he has. So the 2 of us visited the campus and came to understand that there is a big shortage of rooms. There are 13,000 students, 7,000 rooms, or beds I would say. Well, beds are more, but 7,000 rooms. And they are short by about 6,000. Hostel 8 site, Hostel 7 site, half of it has already been rebuilt with a Hostel 17 housing more than 1,000 students. The other 2 wings are have been demolished because and cannot be rebuilt because of the nature of the soil and the construction. So Hostel 8 site, we need to build as many as possible. Because if you see, all the buildings are now going multi-story. And that site can accommodate over 1,000 students. We began by asking an architect firm to do a pre-designed survey by surveying the students, the alumni, and the administration, asking what do you want from a hostel. And some very surprising things came up. One, from the alumni's point of view, they looked at the newer hostel and they didn't like it. There was no question of a wing culture. They were too big, 1,000. We were used to 250 guys, everybody knowing each other. People staying for 4 or 5 years in the same place. You had your friends and they are still your friends. After 50 years, you still talk to your wingmates. And that kind of culture we wanted to rebuild. So the goal was to the architects, no more than 350 rooms in a hostel. You must create this wing culture of 12 to 14 rooms, no more than that. From the student side, surprisingly, some of them wanted double rooms. Because what's happened is the students who now come onto the campus are from a social background from tier 3 and rural areas. And they're socially very awkward. Having a roommate as a buddy helps them accustom them to the campus life. A lot of them have language problems. The instructions in English, and they have grown up from various languages around the country. So one of the goals was that. The other younger alumni wanted it to be a sustainable project. We wanted to have an environmentally friendly project. So we have put in elements of grey water reharvesting, solar panel, all kinds of sustainability issues. Of course, the cost goes up because of all these things, but we said we'll reach the goal, but we'll make a hostel which is look different and will be different from the hostels which have currently been built. The IIT has been very generous. They've given us total freedom to, well, not total freedom, but as much as possible given the circumstances to do what we want and fulfill our vision. We've started, we have a team of about 7-8 people who are on the design side. We are coming to the end of phase 1, which is design and permissions. In the next, the applications are already into the BMC, and we hope that by the end of this month or early December, we will get the permission from the BMC to construct. And we may be able to break ground middle to end of December. So we have finished the first stage over a year. We have had support from about 7-8 alumni who are in the civil construction, and even a lady from the ladies hostel who may have been there around your times, Meera Adarkar, who is an architect, famous architect, who has helped us to organize the design competition, choose the architect, and we've got a PMC project management company which helps us do it, because all of us are volunteers. And there's a whole team of people from various batches, from batch of 66 to the batch of 2018, who are working towards the fundraising goals to meet this 150 crores. As mentioned by the Dean, we are about 1/3 through in commitments, and we hope over the next 2-3 months, where just like yours, there are about 10-11 reunions taking place, and we are reaching out to various people, and we hope to reach the goal of 150 crores over the next 3 to 4 months. And I seek your support, not just in terms of donations, but in terms of networking and persuading others, especially other alumni, and if you have, because you've been in industry and others, with corporate influence, because we have propositions for the corporates to name and to support facilities in the hostel. Now let me just show you a short film on what the hostel is going to look like, and then I'll throw it open to any questions that you would like to ask. So that's the site of Hostel 8, that's the Gymkhana on this side, and the lake on the other. The long building you see will be Hostel 8. 7 and then it will be 21. This is the cafeteria as you come in from the left. This will be the entrance to the complex. Creates the wing culture. Every 10-15 rooms there's a little breakout space. The advantage of the site, it has got a extraordinary location. On one side the lake and the other side the mountains. And it's 8 stories. So on the higher floors you get a fantastic view of the lake. This is a typical double room. So as Suresh said, we are running out of time, so a couple of questions. If anybody has any questions on the project now or even later on when we are having lunch or something. Sure.
I think Bombay is under central government.
Yes.
So how does BMC come in the picture?
Because the this is part of Bombay City. So we need BMC permissions for any buildings that come up here. We go through the same regulations that every other building in the city goes through.
What is the size of the room?
About 85 square feet for the single room and about 120 square feet for the double room. I may be a few feet here and there wrong, but it's about that size. So it's about the same size, maybe slightly bigger than what we had for the single room. It's not much larger.
There's one over here above.
When do you plan to complete?
If we get our permissions by end of December, 18 months to 24 months, we hope to hand over the hostel to IIT for occupation. We are on the stage of tendering for construction. We have a project management company called JLL, James Lars, some French name, I can't pronounce it.
I have a question.
Yes.
It looks like every hostel is different from the other, from what I'm saying right now. How
Yes.
do you decide who goes where?
See, what we've tried to do is preserve the footprint of this thing. There were 226 trees in Hostel 8. It's grown over a period of time. They weren't there when I was there, when you were there. But in fact, that banyan tree, which was such a small thing, is a huge banyan tree now. And we have tried to preserve, we are transplanting about 80 trees, and we have tried to preserve the rest. And one of the reasons why this design was chosen was that he has managed to preserve as much of the footprint as possible of the old hostel and disturb the ecosystem the least. It's one of the goals which were set to the architects. Yes, they are all different because he has had to use the kind of footprint of what was available.
Let us not the question.
Yeah.
I was saying that every hostel looks different from the other hostels. So how do you decide who gets to stay in which hostel?
Ah, okay. Well, that's a problem for the dean students affairs to manage after we build the hostel. I'm hoping that there'll be so much pressure for people wanting to join this one.
That's not what's going to happen.
No, it's going to,
But that used to happen all.
as you get, if you see hostel 1, 2, 3, when we came in, were bigger rooms.
Yeah.
People wanted those. But this has been a constant problem right through the,
Right from the start.
right from the start, Every new hostel becomes a different.
Okay.
And I am hoping that hostel 4 and hostel 6, when it comes up, will be even better than this one.
So
Yes.
I think this will be the last question.
Last
because
question.
we are really running out of time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's arguable that it was ever respectable. You could remove the word again in the title.
The what?
Your title says, make housing respectable again.
Oh, I see. No, when I came in as a student, I was impressed, but then my standards were not great at that time. But frankly, for the amount we paid, we had a great time. It was so. Thank you. I'm available in case after lunch.
Thank you, Kirat. This is definitely a work of passion and commitment from the alumni. So thank you very much for taking the lead on that. We started the event about 10 or 15 minutes late, and we are now, on top of that, we are another 10 minutes or so late. So we are going to do a couple of things later tonight at the Mayuva thing. So I'm requesting Rabi Sfoda to talk about the coffee table book later in the evening. And instead, we are going to go right to the next agenda on the program for this morning, which is to bring Dilip Rajwade back and pay a tribute to those who have passed on and remember our colleagues and classmates who have gone on to the other side. So please.
This is a serious moment for today's. We must not forget, while we are here for the 50th anniversary, that there are quite a few of us who are, well, they are not with us today. I'm sure they are there upstairs looking at us and feeling happy. There are quite a few names. I will mention the names, the branch and the hostel. It is possible that some of you knew them very well. It is possible that some of you knew some of these people not at all. But such is life. These names are in completely random order. Sudhir Joshi, Hostel 8, Mechanical. Avinash Tilak, Mechanical, Hostel 8. Arvind Gokde, Civil, Hostel 5. Homi Bhedwar, Metallurgy, Hostel 4. Jeevan Nazareth, Mechanical, Hostel 3. Srikanth Kudekar, Electrical, Hostel 5. Bharat Mulerpatan, Metallurgy, Hostel 7. Naren Shah, Civil, Hostel 2. Rajendra Agarwal, Electrical, Hostel 4. Ashok Kulkarni, Chemical, Hostel 5. Suresh Desai, Metallurgy, Hostel 5. Bhaskar Muthuswamy, Electrical, Hostel 5. Nauzar Unwala, Chemical, Hostel 4. Rajen Pratap, Mechanical, Hostel 7. Shivling Mahesh, Mahant Shetty, Electrical, Hostel 7. Rajiv Deshmukh, Mechanical, Hostel 6. Francis Coelho, Electrical, Hostel 7. Vineet Sharma, Mechanical, Hostel 5. Arvind Londe, Civil, Hostel 7. Noor Jahan Khairaj, Electrical, Ladies Hostel. A.K. Rao, Mechanical, Hostel 6. Satpal Mathur, Civil, Hostel 5. Mohan Kale, Aero Mech, Hostel 5. Subhash Kulkarni, Aero Mech, Hostel 3. Darayas Sabawala, Electrical, Hostel 4. Ashok Sareen, Electrical, Hostel 6. Sri Prasad Sen, Electrical, I think Hostel 2. Mansingh Kapadia, Chemical, Hostel 7. Dhruv Sheth, Chemical, Hostel 3. Sushil Kapoor, Metallurgy, Hostel 4. R.K. Bhargav, Chemical, Hostel 4, I think. Anil Agate, Metallurgy, Hostel 3. Devinder Gupta, Electrical, Hostel 6. Vinayak Kale, Chemical, Hostel 5. Jyoti Trehan, Metallurgy, Hostel 3. Naveen Makhijani, Chemical, Hostel 5. Shankar Rao, Chemical, Hostel 4. Atul Gandhi, Metallurgy, Hostel 3. Vasant Pandya, Metallurgy, Hostel 4. Jasbir Jaggi, Metallurgy, Hostel 6. Shaunak Tembe, Metallurgy, Hostel 8. Krishna Bagale, Mechanical, Hostel 6. Sharat Mutha, Civil, Hostel 7. Praful Bidwai, Electrical, Hostel 4. Ipan Kuruvila from MSc. Rangarajan Chari, also MSc. Hariharan Vigneshwaran, MSc. Mohan Hemani, Civil, Hostel 5. Kishore Namjoshi, Mechanical, Hostel 6. And it is not impossible that there are one or two who we don't know about. These are the people we know. So I will request all of us to stand for 1 minute in silence. And Spoonie, please monitor for 1 minute.
We have to acknowledge the great help and collaboration that we got from IIT leadership and staff. So we will do that next. And following that, Sunil Sanulke is going to talk a little bit about our batch contribution, as has been determined by all of you during the general body meeting, etc. He'll talk a little bit about that and how to go about making those pledges. So, without further ado, according to my cog sheet here, Dinesh Arya, can you please join me here? He's gone out. Okay. Sorry, that's my timer. So, well, while we wait for Dinesh, you know, I just on a lighter note, I think. Okay. On a lighter note, I think Kirat mentioned that he had performed on this very stage when he was a student. I remember doing it myself also, and very funny incident. There was a gentleman by the name of Shashank Shekhar, and I were supposed to be fake gurus doing some puja out here on a play or a skit that was designed to replicate hippie life. And we were just sitting there murmuring some mantras and all that, and I'm supposed to, at the end of it, I get frustrated and I'm supposed to throw some water on him. What we did not know was that there was a mic in front of us. And I knew, but Shashank did not know, that I really had water in the bucket which I was going to throw on him. So the skit goes on, and we are just saying some things, and Shashank started saying his mantra with all 4-letter galis. And when the time came, I took the bucket of water in frustration and put it all on top of him. And he started giving galis to me all on the microphone. And I remember the director sitting here, and when I saw the movie Three Idiots, I said, this happened to us. So Dinesh, over to you.
I have to give it over to you or to read it out.
See, that talk sheet was with him. All right, very well. So first and foremost, it starts with the top. So without giving too much background, I'm sure you will all recognize that none of this would be possible without the blessings of Suhasis Chaudhary. Dr. Chaudhary, thank you very much. Will you please come on stage and accept a little memento from our team. So where are the mementos?
Memory is the first thing to go.
देखिए आ गया कि नहीं मुझे भूल गया भाई भूल गया वर्चुअल दे देना
So Suresh, please present the memento to.
Thank you. So, thank you very much. We appreciate the fact that this was commissioned and made by one of our own, the doctor who has been a champion of these frameworks. And Sunil Sanuke will be talking a little bit more about it. But thank you very much. I hope you display this as exemplary of what the 50th reunion meant to all of us. So thank you very much.
I now call on stage Professor V.K. Krishna Rao, Deputy Director. So I request Dilip to accept it on his behalf. So Suresh, do the honors.
I get a proxy for deputy director.
I now call on stage Professor S. Sudarshan. Is he here? Huh? Once again, Brian Doss is here. Brian.
Dos Santos.
Yeah, can you come? Yeah.
Can you accept this on his behalf?
So one of the reasons why we are inviting our colleagues to come on the stage is also because these are the members of the core team that has worked literally hours and hours, week after week, for 2 years to help create this conference. And so we are inviting those from the team to please come and accept this wherever they are not available.
So that you can give it, or you can give it, or both of you can give it. Now I have the pleasure of calling on stage the Dean, Professor Ravi Gudi, on stage. And our Vice Chairman, Suresh Sarvani, popularly known as Ravi.
I thought it would have been a heavy fight between me and Suresh.
It was a pleasure, coordinating all this with Professor Ravi Gudi. The amount of support and many times I made him do the follow-up.
If he is here, is he here? And Ravi's father, did you want to say a few words about what you did with him and give the memento to him and be seen there? So.
Thank you so much for all the measures you've taken and all the so meticulously done and so beautifully delivered. Thank you.
Next, we're going to request Mr. Ravi Shankar Gedela, CEO of the DRF, to please come on stage. Okay, so while we wait for him, we'll go to the next person we would like to honor, Miss Lata Venkatachalam, please. And Guru, please come and stage. We had to fight as to who is going to give the awards and memento recognition, and Guru won.
Yeah.
I gave a lot of pain to her, I acknowledge, but she stood, and she gave me a lot of confidence. In fact, the first time we met, I should narrate, I met her with Dinesh Arya, and she said, "You are my guest, and I'm going to play a perfect host." So she was just establishing herself in this office, and she was just a month old, as CEO. So we just wanted to check on the record, and we found that she had a lot of good work in IIT Madras for 6 years. That built her confidence. And really the pinnacle of confidence was when we attended that AGM, at Geo World. It was wonderfully exhibited. Dr. Surathan Saudi was there, he was there. We had Sharad Saraf also graced the occasion. And incidentally, he shared that all three of them are IIT alumni. This is a unique incident in the history of IITs, that the chairman of board of governors and director and dean ARC are from alumni.
Next, I'm going to request Sunil Salunke to come on stage, and this is to recognize Mr. Sharad Saraf, who we had talked about having him here, but he is on his way to the US, I believe. So Dinesh Arya will accept the recognition, the memento on his behalf, and deliver it to him.
I had the privilege of meeting him, and he's such a fantastic person. He's written a book called The Engineering Karma, which I would recommend all of you to read. Okay.
I'm not sure if Professor Sukhatme is here. He's not. Okay. So I'm going to request Dilip Rajwade to please give the memento to Shekhar Chirpurkar, to come on stage and receive it on his behalf.
Collecting data about alumni some decades ago and followed it up.
Is Ravi back? Ravi Aginella?
He isn't here. Somebody can access for him.
All right. Okay. So once again, why don't you?
I can deliver it to you.
Anurag, come on.
Yeah, later. I plan.
I'm going to now request Saurabh Dawar to please come on stage and give our token of appreciation to Gaurav Shinde.
Gaurav, come on. A big hand for Gaurav.
Out here we have so many people who can say that they have graduated from high school. So
so many people who can say I'm married in IIT. Is there anyone who can say I was born in IIT?
Next, can I request Geeta Govindran to please be on stage and request Rama Nair.
Where's Rama?
Rama Nair. She's not here. Oh, there she is. Okay.
Geeta.
Can you hear me now? Yes. Rama has been so cooperative for each and every useless query of ours. She's gone out of the way and helped immediately and given a very good response. This function wouldn't have happened without her. Thank you so much.
Can I have Ravi Soda please come on the stage here and acknowledge all the help that we got from Sarba Sen. If she's here, please join us. Otherwise, a couple of words about. I'm sorry.
Sharma is not here.
You can come and take it.
Yeah, you can.
Let Lata come and take it. No, Lata is coming. She will accept.
Thank you very much. Sharma unfortunately had to leave to go to, I think, Bangalore. She informed me a couple of days ago. Her father-in-law passed away, so may his soul rest in peace. But she has been immensely helpful in, I would call her middle of the night, during the day, anytime, I'm in Canada 9.5 hours away and we could chat. But she has been immensely helpful in putting together this coffee table book that we will talk about a little bit more in the program in the evening. And the kind of help she's provided, just amazing and out of the world. And I'm 20,000 miles away and she would be helping around, doing all kinds of things, all funny things. And so I think she's a very well-deserving person and a very good asset to the Alumni Association. Unbelievable. Thank you very much, Sharma. And all the best.
And meanwhile, we are going to request.
So not to say anything more, but Lata has also been immensely helpful. So I think Lata and Sharma are on the equal platform.
May I request Neela Paradkar to please join us on the stage here? There you go. I'm sorry, Suresh Advani will do the honors.
I must say that the entire Alumni Association office, deserve kudos for all that's happening here.
Next, I'm going to request Pooja Kanodia.
Yeah, there she is.
Pooja. And Brian Dos Santos, please, to do the honors. So the people who are being called on stage are the ones who interacted the most with the folks that we are recognizing. And every one of us said that we really should take the time in this, at this event to do that on a personal basis. So please bear with us as we
We are now the store now.
Next, Meghna Menon and Shekhar Chipurkar from our side.
There she is. So all the emails, Shekhar, I'll talk on your behalf. All the emails, all the live memberships, you send a mail to her and within a jiffy, before you can reopen your mail, you have the response.
The staff here has been absolutely incredible. So the experience has been great. Next, I'm going to request someone who has put in a lot of effort into designing the 50-year golden logo and helping us with the website, making sure our English was correct, making sure that the coffee table book would be, right. Kiran Kadam to please come on stage and recognize Navjot Kamble. I must add that Kiran has also done a lot of research on the history of IIT Bombay. Okay. So you will see that in the coffee table book with pictures.
Yeah, I learned a lot about the history of
Mike.
In the yearbook, or the coffee table book, we're going to have not chapter, but a couple of pages on the history of IIT Bombay. And I learned a lot while doing the research. So, starting from, Professor Kelkar when he was at VJTI, I think he was the first director before he went to get your post. So I think it has been interesting to do the research. And when the book comes out, I think sometime, I don't know when it's going to come out, I hope you'll enjoy it.
Thank you, Kiran. Next, Dipti Date. Can you please come on and join us on the stage? Dipti has been also a part of the contingent that has met us in the US, and it's always a pleasure to interact with her.
When I first started coming to IIT office, trying to meet Professor Suhas Joshi, I first encountered her. And she has been so helpful right from the beginning through the transition from one dean to the other, the continuity, and it's amazing the way she has been a backbone of all such events and all such help. And throughout, I don't know the number of WhatsApps I sent her. What is this? What is that? What is this rate? What is that rate? Is it half rate? Is it quarter rate? And what not? But tremendous.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure working with this batch, and I'm really honored today. Thank you so much.
As far as Dipti is concerned, I want to add something. When we started the work on this event, we thought that we will have something like about 70 to 80 people coming for this event. As it turned out,
that included spouses.
Sorry?
Including spouses.
Including spouses. Yeah, and that was including spouses. And yeah. So as it turned out, we are today at 175. And so we suddenly found that we were short of rooms. And I put a request to her that, look, you have to accommodate all of them. We don't want them to be staying at Melua and all over the place. She said, no, it's not possible that you'll get that many rooms. I said, look, you have to do it. And today we have the rooms. All because of her, Professor Jubilee and Mr. Dabolkar. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I always tell Dipti that when you meet her with her wonderful smile, everything becomes possible. Thank you. Next, we're going to request Sunil Sadunke to come on stage and recognize the help we have gotten amazing from Anurag Khaire. Anurag has been a phenomenal help as well, so please.
I must personally thank Anurag because I live in Sydney. So I'm about 5.5 hours ahead of him. And he took his time on Sundays and Saturdays to explain to me the pledge management system which he operates and controls. And I'll be speaking about the pledge management system very shortly. Thank you.
Anurag has been amazing because even in the early stages, we were talking about, the donation portal. Okay, we interfaced a lot, talked about some of the requirements, some of the things that would be nice to have. And by the time we woke up in the morning, it was done. I mean, it was amazing. So thank you very much. And last but not least, I'm going to request Kiran Kadam to please come on stage and accept a gift of appreciation for Sudha Rangan and Rabi Spoda to accept it on her behalf. Please. Sudha is the person on the other side of the pond, based in Boston. She manages IIT Bombay Heritage Foundation, and she's the one who has been coordinating the responses from all the alumni in the USA. So just so you know, from an organization standpoint, we had people here in India who are doing work with the alumni here. Sudha Rangan helped us in North America, and then we had other Sunil Sadunke and others working for the rest of the world. So we have people from Australia and so on and so forth. Kiran, please. He just forgot to wear his skirt, that's right. Thank you very much.
I just want to say,
yeah.
So Sudha was immensely helpful in developing and maintaining the website that I'm sure all of you have used. It's chock full of information, so we'd like to acknowledge her help. Thanks, Sudha.
Okay, while we are in the process of recognizing people, I just want to make an announcement that we have, this event would not have been as successful as it is now, but for the support of the spouses. Quite a few of them are here. So we are also going to recognize them, but we will not take your time. Okay, we'll do it in the guest house. So for the spouses, we are going to hand over the mementos to you today, because I know some of you are leaving there, you may not be there tomorrow or day after. So we'll hand it over to you today between 5 and 6:30 in your guest house. We'll ensure that we come to your guest house, whether it is Padma Vihar or Van Vihar or Jal Vihar, between 5 and 6:30. So please be around. Thank you.
The sponsors have been amazing. In one of the many calls we had, we said we have to have medical help if we need it. And immediately a couple of people raised and said, my wife is a doctor, my wife is a doctor. And we said, that's wonderful. As long as they are not proctologists or gynecologists, we are okay. So thank you very much. Thanks for stepping up, if you will, and helping out. Next, I'm going to request Sunil Sadunke to come and talk about the batch contribution. I'm happy to note that we are almost on time. We said we'll finish it by 12:30, so you have 15 minutes to talk about that.
Very important topic which we discussed over the last 42 meetings, and obviously it's all about the kind of memories that we had in IIT, the fantastic education that we received, As a matter of giving back, we decided we'll create something called as a Class of 72 Legacy Project. Okay, so that's what I'm going to talk about. I have some few pleasant memories of lecture theatre. If you talk about the memories, everyone talked about very pleasant memories. I'm talking about something different. This is the place we used to come. You sit at the back and go to sleep. That's what we used to do. Also, the other memory which I can recall about the lecture theatre is Professor Bose used to use this stage to make sure some of the students who have behaved mischievously, we had to come here on the stage and do a public apology. I don't know how many of you remember that. Yeah, I can see one.
The car incident.
Sorry?
Car incident.
Yeah. Oh, the car incident was a fantastic one. Obviously, about 8 people had to queue up in the line here. Anyway, coming back to this legacy fund. When we decided about the legacy fund, we had some objectives. We had a couple of objectives. Number one was, we said that, okay, look, no matter whatever is the amount that you wish to pledge or donate or whatever, we wanted to have a higher level of participation. We are roughly about 350 people, and we said, okay, if you can get about at least 60% of us donating or pledging, that'd be really worth it. And the second objective was we should donate or divert the funds so that a maximum number of people will benefit from the IIT community. That was the second objective. And on that basis, we did create the fund, and we decided to have 2 channels. One is the scholarship fund, and the second one is, as you saw, the Evergreen Project Evergreen. So that's where we'll be diverting our funds through of course, the various channels of IIT Bombay. Now, we created the links for donation as well as the pledging on our website, GJ72 website. So you guys can go there and just click on the links and you can do a pledging. One aspect about pledging is you do not need to transfer the funds immediately. You can take your own time. You can depending on some people who require some tax benefits, etc. So you can choose your time, end of January, end of March or something. We kept that window open for pledging up to 2025. Okay. The only thing you need to remember is you must click the Class of 72 Legacy Project so that all the money goes into the 72 bucket. That's the main thing. The other aspect of the pledging is some of us a few people have decided they do a cross matching. In other words, if somebody donates 10,000, well, there's another person willing to donate 10,000, etc. So that becomes a double the amount to the actual pledge amount. Okay. So that's matching the pledge. Yeah. The donation is something, if you wish to donate as a one-off payment, you can always do that by going to the link and do that. Okay. What else is there? You can make the pledge in 2 ways. Okay. One is the actual funds. In other words, you can say that either INR or USD or whatever, you can do a pledge there. Or the second option, which is about, you can pledge it by bequeathing. You may have some stocks or something, or you may have a property, or you may write something in your will that, okay, 20% of my property will go to IIT, etc. Suresh Advani will speak a great deal about the bequeathing pledging. Okay. Now, lastly, what I would like to show you is give you a bit of a demo with Anurag. Where is it? Anurag has prepared a small presentation. We had our meeting till yesterday evening till 6 o'clock. So we prepared a little presentation just to run through as to how the pledging process is so simple. And I would urge all of you to participate in today's activity, whether at Melua or Anurag is available all the time. I have requested him to come to Padma Vihar for some time. So if you wish to pledge, you can do that, or you can do it on your iPhones also. Anurag, can you please come in? Thanks.
Okay, I am going to talk to you about bequeathing. In my own personal capacity, I have been doing some fundraising for various causes. I am associated with some hospitals, ophthalmology, cancer hospital, and I keep raising funds from individuals, a group of individuals, or even corporate. But why I want to talk to you about bequeathing as individuals is we all have the fear that we are going to live too long, much longer than our corpus can support. That fear is always there. And when that fear is there, we refrain from making any commitment of donation. We don't want to. Now, if you ask me, given that whatever, and somebody asks me, you pledge, I won't pledge more than 1 lakh of rupees. I'll say, okay, I don't want to touch my corpus, I'll give 1 lakh of rupees. And then be done with. But there is another concept which I have thought about and which I have created, is that after you have passed on, you see, your corpus will go to your next of kin as per your will and all that. So that is not going to pinch you because it's over and gone. So the suggestion is that when you are passing it on to your next of kin, a part of it you can pass it on to charity, whichever be the cause. Okay, whether it's the hospital, whether it is the poor old age home or whatever. So my suggestion to you, and you know what what is the terminology I have created for this? I call it SKI, SKI. It stands for Spending Kids Inheritance. You decide to spend the inheritance to a certain extent for a good cause. So I have spoken to some of my batchmates, and they have agreed in principle to, because see, when it's bequeathing, it can be large numbers. It can be a percentage of your corpus, So there are people in our batch who have agreed to bequeath 20%, 10%, 15% of their current corpus. Okay. Now, in bequeathing, there are two types. One is property, which is a very difficult proposition, not difficult, but a lengthy process for our friend Anurag and the team, because valuation is something that you don't know. So that is one. And the other is, which is pure finance, which is equity, mutual fund, bonds, or cash in bank. That is much easier. So you may decide that whatever corpus you have kept, which is now giving you a return for your daily living, part of it you can bequeath. Okay. So that is something I leave with you. Think about it, because those can be bigger numbers. And in this whole process, I have succeeded very well in getting large amounts through bequeathing process. So I am recommending, not that you don't do the pledging, otherwise you do that as well, but bequeath as much as you can. Thank you.
I'll first quickly introduce myself. When this hall was filling up, I saw that some of you guys ignored the empty seats up front and went right at the back over there. So it's very nice to see some of you completely living your student life again. And I also happen to be a student right from here. Few years back, sleeping right at the back seats right there. I passed out in 2013. So yes, you guys also have bragging rights on me. And I work for Professor Gudi and Ravi Shankar as part of the Asia office. But like I keep telling Professor Gudi, days like today are the highlights of my working life here, because apart from work, for me it's like inheriting 100 grandparents. And I really want you guys to think of me as your grandkid and not as somebody who works in IT. So I am here for whatever you require. For the reunion or otherwise. So feel free to contact me. I have given my contact details over here. I will also share it with the entire batch. But now coming to the presentation, like any other grandkid, I am going to ask you for your money. So I will quickly walk you through the pledging process. So the pledging process is quite simple. If you want to contribute to the class of 1972 legacy project, you don't need to donate upfront. What you can do is you can tell us that I want to donate and I will donate as and when I can. And the way to do it is create a pledge. And eventually in the next few years, as and when you can donate, you can complete the pledge. So to make a pledge, unfortunately you can't see the font. I will share the link after. There is a link, a pledge portal, where you can go and fill the pledge form, which is very simple. It just asks you for a few details like your name, your location, contact, email ID, and currency and pledge. That's about it. What I promise you is anything that you pledge will count towards the batch legacy project, but more importantly, only we, the Asia office and me specifically, will have access to your pledge, which means it will be totally confidential and it will be just between us. So it won't be shared anywhere. You can pledge in any currency and you can donate in any currency. So we will take care of that as well. And like I said, we also do accept equity. So if you do want to donate in equity, do contact me and we will also enable that. While I do have a screenshot of what the pledge form looks like, I have also pulled out the pledge form over here online. Murphy's Law again. Yeah. Yeah. So it's fine. I will share the link with you. But this is what the pledge form looks like. Yeah.
Also, the link is available on the GJ72 website. So if you link, there's a column called as fundraising. Just below the fundraising, you have a link for the pledging, as well as the next link is also for the donation. So it's available.
Yeah. So this is the pledge form. You can go to the Asia website. You will find the pledge form. It's also on the batch union page, as well as we will share it with you. You just need to fill out some of their details, name, email ID, contact details, and then you can go ahead and pledge whatever amount you can. No amount is too small, as long as it comes from the heart. So please do go ahead and pledge on this form. In terms of the actual donation, you can do it whenever possible in the next few years to get the maximum out of the tax benefit for your donations. So essentially, there are based on the country you are, you need to go to different channels to donate. If you are in India, you can donate through the IIT Bombay webpage. If you are in the US or Canada, you have to donate to Heritage Foundation, who then transfer it to us. If you are in the UK, you need to transfer it to IIT Alumni Association, who will then transfer it to us. And if you are in any other country, do contact us. You can also donate it to the IIT Bombay webpage. The reason why there are different channels of donation is so that you can get the maximum tax benefit in whichever country you are. Rest assured, any donation, and you can't see it down here, but any donation in India and the US is 100% tax exempt. If you are in the US, you can also avail something known as matching donation, which is for a lot of companies. If you have worked there or are working there, they do provide matching donation, which is if you donate $100 to IIT Bombay, they will also donate $100 to IIT Bombay. So you can also check that out. If you are in the UK, you are also eligible for the gift tax benefit. So also do consider that when you pledge for a donation. Lastly, this is my promise to you. I am answerable to any of your needs, legacy project or otherwise. So do contact me. We will work with the batch to finalize the cause which you guys feel is the most appropriate. and we'll ensure that every penny that you donate to us is utilized properly, and I will personally report it to you guys of what we did with the money. And we will also ensure that the badge is properly recognized and the legacy is properly embellished for every future generation of badges which comes to IIT Bombay. Lastly, again, this is my contact details, and it's been an absolutely pleasure meeting you guys and talking to you over the past months. I like any grandkid, I have been mesmerized by the stories you guys have been telling me, using the slide scales and doing your mechanics without calculators, something which I cannot even fathom. So, a slide. Sorry, it had been outdated when I came in. If I didn't have my calculator and had to use slide rule, I probably would have either not passed or would have had a CPI of 3. So,
You would have to spend 5 years.
if I can be half as amazing and awesome as you guys are, I would consider that a success. So thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Anurag. Just one last thing regarding the pledge. I'm quite happy to announce that because being a class of 72, you decided to have a target of 72 million rupees, not dollars. So please help us in achieving that. We have already received quite a bit of money in our bucket, basically the 72 bucket. So please do that. And so, we were told that our carpentry and the smithy shop has been closed. I'm pretty sad to know that, because I'll tell you why. In the smithy shop, at 4:45 to 4:50, there was a guy, the supervisor there. He'll come and look at you and says, oh, and he'll do all the tuck, 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 and he says, jao, udhar jaake thanda karke submit karo. That was the phrase, thanda karke submit karo. So, sorry? Yeah, in the heat, yeah. Anyway, it was a forging shop, and that's what they used to say. So that became a phrase in IIT for anything. Any job you want to finish, you simply say, thanda karke submit karo. So I would rather urge you to go and make your pledges, okay? Thank you very much. A request came this morning from Uday Lokre. Uday Lokre is a guy who does all sorts of different fretwork and so on and so forth. So he's decided that he's brought his fretwork around here. So we'll be displaying it at the Minerva, and I've spoken to Meghna, and we'll probably find a suitable desk, etc. But that money, which will be, that fretwork will be sold, and that money will go towards the IIT 72 bucket. Thanks very much, Uday. I'll organize the time and the place. Okay? Thanks.
I just want to say one thing, that I hope people will like, what is displayed. But henceforth, if I get orders, right, then 70% of that I'm going to donate to the legacy fund as and when the orders come from my IIT.
Wonderful. Okay, thanks. Thanks for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What a wonderful way to kick off the meeting and the next 2 days of togetherness, and knowing that we will all be dying to give back to IIT. So, thank you very much. And we are going to have a group photograph taken in the well of the Sailesh J. Mehta School, where you got your registrations done earlier. We'll have a group picture, and lunch will be served on the Gulmohar lawn. So we'll meet at Gulmohar lawn for lunch after the picture session. So thank you. IIT ka tempo. IIT ka tempo.